Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also attached a link to this story where you can look at plot synopsis, characters, and so forth. So we are continuing here. We are doing Mark Grenwold's run on Captain America, where Steve Rogers stops being Captain America, John Walker becomes the new Captain America, and Steve Rogers ends up becoming the Captain. So it's the Captain America TV show was loosely based on um, the idea of this. Obviously, the Falcon is not in these things, so he's not Captain America in this. But they basically amalgamed a couple of beats from this story to put it into that one. So great cover here. So the cover is by Paul Neary and Joseph Rubinstein, or is it Rubinsteins here? So I'm very fond of this era of Captain America. A lot of comic books from this era, from the mid '80s, is very nostalgic to me. So, um, if you remember, I from the last issue, Captain America is fighting this terrorist group called Ultimatum, I believe, is what they're called. Mark Renwald at this time, he is Captain America's longest tenured writer. He wrote Captain America for 137 consecutive issues. He did pass away in 1996 from cancer. Um, he's very respected, even though his name's not mentioned as one of the greatest writers of all time. He definitely made Captain America his own. So, this story is told in first person. So, um, the name's Captain America. For more years than I care to remember, I've been a soldier in the war against oppression, injustice, and crime. Due to a special process I once underwent, my entire body has been enhanced to the peak of human potential. Through rigorous training and constant practice, I have honed my body to a highly efficient fighting machine. A fact that I'm certain these men will attest to once they recover, that is. So, um, and we have the title here, The Chasm. So, Mark Grenwold, like I said, he was a writer for a long time, but the art, despite the fact that I'm very nostalgic for this, the art wasn't very good. The art was serviceable, but it, if you look at it, it just doesn't scream at you or like make you really pay attention. So, um, now artists are so good. Even a no-name artist is, um, just because styles have changed so much. But back then, it just you would take this and you'd go, I don't, because comic books are a visual medium. I mean, you like I said, you look at it and just kind of go, eh. So I am not overly excited about the art. Paul Neary, I believe, was the penciler. Paul Neary is mostly famous for being Alan Davis's main inker in Excalibur, and during this era, Paul Neary inked Alan Davis in Batman, and in Batman and the Outsiders, and then in Excalibur. So, John Beatty is the inker, and John Beatty's a respectable inker, but Paul Neary just is not that good a penciler. He's an incredible inker, though. All right, so we continue here. My enemies call themselves Ultimatum. It stands for Underground Liberated, Totally Integrated Mobile Army to Unite My Mankind. Ah, goodness gracious. Lofty name for a gang of terrorists. I tell you, marvel and its acronyms. My allies call themselves SHIELD. And speaking of acronyms, it stands for Supreme Headquarter International Espionage Law Enforcement Division. Equally lofty, but at least they earned it. Captain America continues as he goes toward this guy, and you can see him here. They shoot at him. If it weren't for the darkness, you might be able to tell we're somewhere in the Swiss Alps. The natural beauty of the place is in sharp contrast to the ugliness of the activity going on. Sometimes I think that they add the dialogue just to slow you down. I mean, you can clearly see that the dialogue is in there just so that you have something to read. Otherwise, this thing would go through very quickly. And it's something that I've sort of learned. I am not a I don't like words very much. Meaning when I try to give you a story, I try to use as little words as possible. But then I notice that it just you go through the story so quickly that then I have to go back and add dialogue to it to just to get people to kind of slow down at least enough. I no way do I craft as many words as this, but you know. So we got this guy here aiming his weapon at Cap and Cap lunging toward him picking up his shield. Sure, I'm a soldier and I'm very good at fighting, but that doesn't mean that I think war is a pretty business. No, I only think that it is necessary at times like now. There's a difference between war and fighting, but that's all right. Comic books. All right. Ultimatum's goal is to unite mankind by abolishing the concept of nationalism, which they feel gives people a sense of separateness and superiority over others. To achieve this end, they launch terrorist attacks against symbols of nationalism. These attacks may not cause a single nation to weaken, but they sure do capture the media's attention. You might guess that as a living symbol of America, I make it an irresistible target for these people. So this guy yells, keep shooting. We are many. He's just one man. So, that's right. I'm just one man who's dedicated his life to ideals of freedom, justice, and equality. Some folks misunderstand me. They think I represent the American government, its political system, or its official policies. I don't. I represent the American dream, the notion that human beings should have the opportunities to better their lives and attain their noblest aspirations. Being Captain America is the fulfillment of my American dream. No one forced me to take the name or represent the ideals. I chose to. The responsibility has weighed heavy on me at times. I like this part here where they add the little zipatones. But I do my best. I try to set a good example. I try to fight the good fight. If Ultimatum had peacefully promoted their anti-nationalist philosophy, I would have defended their right to express their point of view. But instead, they coerced people to listen to them and placed lives of innocents in jeopardy. That was the first thing that made me mad. Great composition. There is solid composition here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think Paul Neri is horrible. I just don't think his art speaks. Like it's not impressive. It's just solid. So the second thing involved guns. You'll notice that everyone around me uses guns except me. I believe that guns are for killing, and killing is the ultimate violation of individual rights, the ultimate denial of freedom. So you got this dude here using his guns and an explosion here. I never carry a gun. I have never taken another person's life until 3 hours ago. So if you remember last issue, he ended up having to kill one of those terrorists. So some more halftone here on the shield. It began when Ultimatum agents hijacked an American airliner and took 110 citizens hostages in exchange for their freedom. Ultimatum wanted me to surrender myself to them. So we're just going to get a flashback. Like I said, I've covered the story, so we're just going to skip the rest. We're just going to keep moving on. But here's, he's just basically rehashing that every comic book is somebody's first. That was a Jim Shooter thing. So, and here we show him killing that person. So here we have a great image of Captain America. Love the halftones again, used on his shield and right there. The image of the man being smashed through the stained glass windows by the impact of my bullets haunts me. Under the circumstances, perhaps I had no choice. It was one life, his, against the many hostages he could have killed. But still, I curse myself for not planning better, for not preventing such a situation from arising. So, that guilt is actually what's going to lead into it. So, there's a reason that you will see that being mentioned over and over, because the guilt is what's going to lead to eventually him being replaced as Captain America for John Walker. I'm as angry at myself as I am at them, and no matter how many of them fall before my shield, my anger is still not spent. I'm hoping that if I can capture the leader of Ultimatum, the man known only as Flag Smasher, I might quell the beast raging inside me. The problem is that no one has seen him since the air raid began 20 minutes ago. The air traffic control tower is the highest vantage point on the base. Perhaps I could spot him as he runs toward it. So he's up there now. I can't see much better from up here thanks to a sudden alpine blizzard. But through the gray haze, I managed to see a helicopter preparing for takeoff. SHIELD agents are trying to stop it. So it's a simple drawing but effective. So you can clearly see everything that's happened, or like, the stuff. But again, it's not hyper detailed. That's kind of what, and part of it is I've been spoiled by Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, John Byrne, Walt Simonson. It just, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to dog the art. It's effective, but it just could be so much better, particularly for a title that was written very well. So, also Captain America jumps through. No way to tell from here no way to tell from here if Flag Smasher is in it. Wow, if Flag, there we go. But I'm not taking chances. The chopper's on the ground. I have to hurry. The chopper. If you remember Predator and Arnold Schwarzenegger, get to the chopper. If anybody saw the Super Bowl, if you remember that commercial with Schwarzenegger, I think that's the best commercial. So Flag Smashers here shooting nationalist swine. So hold your fire, Jerry. Captain America is up there. They stopped shooting. I must have hit them. Flag Smasher thinks. I'm free, and the Captain America is jumping toward the helicopter. It's a long jump, and the conditions are rather hazardous, but I have to try. What in the... That sudden rocking. Something's hit the helicopter. And it's Captain America going through. So I'm going to quit this part till it just becomes a little more pertinent. So Flag Smasher yells, "No, Captain America." Captain America up here was just describing kind of what's going on. We can just clearly see it here. So here he climbs up, and inside as he's going in, look at all the halftones. That's pretty cool. You may have robbed me of my chance to execute you on world television, but I'll still see you dead. So Flag Smasher shoots at him, and then if you see the shot now, hits up through the blades. I wouldn't recommend any more shooting in such close quarters, Flag. You wouldn't want the next ricochet to hit you. and he kicks him. So the helicopter looks like it's going to crash land. Flag Smasher's no longer flying the helicopter and concentrates on kicking Captain America. Captain America then hits him, and then it hits the side of the mountain. But you can see here, even though, um, I understand why they used the color, but they could at least do this a little different color, make it easier, just so that people can see that they got away. So, again, you can see it here. Then they hit the side of the mountain and fall to the snowbank below. And so the wind begins to howl. Captain America begins to wake up. And Captain America goes to check up on him, but Flag Smasher goes and punches him instead. So, again, I love the use of the halftones. So, Flag Smasher says here, I hate you, Captain. I hate your self-righteousness, your moral smugness. You're not bright enough to see what a relic of outmoded values you are. It's funny. People still say the same thing. I like this panel here as he rushes toward him. So, Flag Smasher's rhetoric doesn't make me any angrier than I already am, he says. So, and so they fight. We can, again, now we're just kind of still talking about American ideals and stuff like that. It's kind of funny stuff people still to this day in 2024, again, this was in 1986, and now in 2024, people still say these things. So I wonder if people say the same thing about me. Does my love for the American dream border on fanaticism? Is it improbable I'll ever attain my goals? The realization of where I've slid clears my minds of abstract questions. And so Flag Smasher jumps, but Captain America tells him to stay back, but he goes over the side. And so Captain America walks away. He's going to basically dig himself a place to kind of be able to hunker down as the blizzard here. And he thinks of his enemies and those that have tried. So he waits until the blizzard's over and comes out. So, and he's going to see if he can find Flag Smasher. So he's going to go down. So, as I make my descent, I wonder if the SHIELD agents back at the base have noticed I was missing yet. So, here we go. No sign of Captain America, Lieutenant Hunt. How about Flag Smasher? Him neither. Agents Felker and Wool claim they saw Captain jump into the escaping helicopter. Could have been Flag Smashers. Cap would have radioed if he were able to. I can only assume that the copter went down somewhere. Riley, assemble a search party. With all due respect, sir, I don't think we can spare the manpower right now. Besides, at night we wouldn't be able to spot anything. Point taken, Riley. All right, I want you two to remain here till morning in case Cap shows up. I've got to see to it that these two transport choppers make it to division headquarters with as many prisoners alive as possible. Then this guy here thinks, well, it must be well below zero. I wonder, can even the living legend survive the elements on nights like this? So, Captain America here says it takes him about an hour to get, and then he is able to reach Flag Smasher, and he is going to try and save him. So he burrows and makes another, and then he brings him in there. So, and he's hoping that they're going to be able to survive. He uses his own body heat to try to keep him alive. Um, so Captain America says that he sees that Flag Smasher survived, so he gets out, carries him, and Flag Smasher kind of comes to, yells at Captain America. He says, "That's right." He says, "Put me down at once." So he does. "What's the meaning of this? What have you?" He says, "I saved your life. I couldn't have let you die. Now, come on. You can use my shield as a sled." And so it says here he needed to coax him to get him on. "If you expect these heroic gestures of yours will in any way make me more sympathetic towards your insipid patriotic cause, think again. That's not why I'm doing this, Flag. I'm doing this out of my love for humanity, my reverence for life, concepts beyond your notions of patriotism. I love humanity too, Captain, but I'd not do the same for you." And so they're gonna have a talk which, it's again, it's 1986, and I just keep telling people, people do not change. It's funny. Human beings are the same creatures now, as they were in the past. 100 years from now, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 50, 20, 100 years into the future, 1,000 years into the future, it doesn't matter. So, like it or not, you're going to listen to me, Flag Smasher. I want to address some false notions I think you have of me. First of all, I'm not a knee-jerk patriot. I don't believe in my country, right or wrong. I support America in its concept, its essence, its ideal, its political system, its foreign and domestic policies, its vast books of laws. I'm not America's official advocate for any of that. What I represent is the principle that America's politics, laws, and policies are based on freedom, justice, equality, opportunity. And so Flag Smasher says, "Then why alienate the rest of the world with America in your name? Why don't you just call yourself Captain Freedom or Captain Justice or..." And so Captain America says, "I'd be glad to answer that for you right now, but I think I hear something. Yes, I see an aircraft, a copter. It sees us." So Captain America says, "Don't know how they found us so easily, but we're saved." But it's members of Ultimatum jumping out. "Surprise, Captain. I'm not. I've had a homing transmitter on my person all along. It was only a matter of time," says Flag Smasher. "Step away from him, America. Keep your hands where I can see them." And so Flag Smasher thinks here, "I could order them not to shoot, spare Captain America, as he did mine, but then we would be even. No, I shall give no such order. To do so would be a sign of weakness." So Captain America decides he's not gonna give a chance, so he goes and gets his shield. tells Flag Smasher he won't be needing this, and so they shoot. He uses the shield to protect himself, and then hits the guys, and then again they shoot. He protects himself with the shield, grabs the gun. So this time I'm just not, there's just a lot of just kind of telling you the action, so I don't need to repeat that. So Flag Smasher here is going for the gun. This guy here is shooting. Again, all the halftones being used by John Beatty is pretty cool. So this guy takes out the knife. Captain America grabs him, tells him to drop it, and this guy's like, "Patriotic tool, you would not hit a lady." And Captain America hits her and says, "Lady, you're no lady." So he goes out, grabs some rope, and ties them. He goes, "Flag Smasher, have you seen the other gun that was lying around here?" And says, and what's this odd trail in the snow leading from where you are to where I dropped it back? Hand it over, Flags. No jokes." So he says, "If you want it, Captain." And then he aims it at him, says, "Come and get it. And while you're coming, I want to tell you, I truly appreciate our little talk today. It helped me get a better idea of the man you are, a man worthy of my profound contempt. I despise you for your fanatical devotion to your ideals. I hate that you have proven my physical superior twice now. I don't deserve a foe as grand as you. You must die. And so Captain America says he braces himself. But imagine my surprise. But I'm no fool, Captain. It is unlikely I'll succeed today. But someday, when your back is turned, rest assured I will put a bullet in it. And so it looks now that S.H.I.E.L.D. has arrived. Or no, he takes the copter that they arrived in. So, and he's going to the base. And this guy's like, enemy copter into position. And he's like, the enemy isn't dumb enough to open Lee returned to a compromised installation. So, hold your fire. It's me, says Captain America. I have a man in need of medical attention. And so here comes the medics. It looks like Cap, but we'd better make sure. It's kind of like G.I. Joe-ish. I give the S.H.I.E.L.D. crew a few choice code words establishing my identity. They relieve me of Flag Smasher and his men. And he says, you're going to regret saving my life. Captain, I give you my word on that. And Captain America thinks, wrong, Flag Smasher, life is precious, even yours. And so we finally get our credits here. Mark Grenwald, as I mentioned, had wrote it. Paul Neary is the penciler, and John Beatty is the inker extraordinaire. So great job with the inking. I think it really helped the pencils. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Captain America number 322 from 1986. Like and subscribe, and I do want to thank you for listening. Goodbye.